If you want to get your bowels in an uproar, why don't we talk about Wednesday night's AEW television?
That sounds like a good idea, Jim.
Yes, because there was plenty of bowels in an uproar about this was the blooper reel. And I just wanted to hit the high points because I didn't want to just go into minute detail about everything with this show, but it's just stunningly one thing after another. This week, it was what else is going to screw up, or what different way or one of these guys or girls going to find to each other up. And and then the production snafus, or just they shouldn't be doing this. And again, they're going to go all the way apparently with this hangnail Adam Page business. Tony thinks for some reason that this guy is going to be the answer to his troubles of some description. And from the introduction on this show, when Tony Schiavone introduced Page, he's a babyface, but he walks out to a video of him burning a guy's house down. You see that in the background? That's on his entrance video.
It's one of his
he
highlights.
looks like just any guy now that you would see stocking a shelf at Target. Just he's trying to emote. He has these Shakespeare speeches in his head and because of it, he comes off as a bad actor speaking in a forced and unnatural way. And you don't believe him. He's performing a fucking scene that he's written for himself. And he is supposed to be mitigating the loss to Ospreay. He says, "Hey, Ospreay, thanks for the fight of my life. You can be the guy to carry this company forward." Who, a loser? What the? But victory is fleeting. And he gave the Owen Hart belt back to Tony because they're going to have a new tournament next year, crown a new champion. What the fuck did you go through all that trouble for?
Yeah, why'd you wear it out there?
Yeah, and why did you get your head caved in to win it? And okay, here it is. Thanks. But here was some quotes again, because this material speaks for itself. For those people that are thinking, oh, isn't this great, pithy comments. He said, for 7 months, that title has been locked in a briefcase. And then he had a meltdown about how offended he was on behalf of the AEW championship. Not because anything's been done to him personally. Not because nobody can explain what Moxley has been saying or doing for the last 6 months. So there is no angle. There is no story. He said for 7 months, the title's been locked in a briefcase. And it's not for the AEW title was to be a shining light, a beacon to show the world that what these 3 letters meant. It was about competition, creativity, compassion, passion, the human dignity with which we all treat each other. He's talking about a heavyweight wrestling championship. What does that have to do with compassion and human fucking dignity?
I heard Everett Marshall.
Brian,
I heard Everett Marshall give the same speech many years ago. It's ridiculous, no. And there are people who swear by Adam Page's promos. They think they're great, and it's practice, and it's over the top stupid. I don't like it at all.
The human dignity with which we all treat each other. The thrilling competition, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. So Page came out and promised in 7 weeks he's going to win the world title, and that's a promise that I will keep. So he promised twice. So he's winning the fucking thing, or he's an idiot, or somebody else in the company is an idiot for letting him do it. So that result is foregone now, but Swerve's music then plays. And Swerve gets a bigger reaction still than Page does. They pretty much character assassinated him. And they're chanting blah, blah, blah. And Swerve showed a video of the Buckaroos saying when they cost Swerve the title in the three-way with Paige and whatever the fuck. They said we did it to help our friend Adam Page. You're welcome, Adam. And so Swerve tells Paige, and there's Paige standing there like a dipshit. He said, I had the same chance at Moxley that you have, and I had it won, but your friends came in and did that for you. And now you've got a clear path, so I call collusion. And Paige said that he would never let Swerve be the champion again. And basically, don't lie to me. Did you do this? And now Swerve, by the way, is right. Paige is an asshole. But confronted with that, instead of saying, I can't control what my ex-friends do, or no, I didn't have a part to play in this, he looks at the other babyface, and then Paige says, well, dumbass. At Dynasty, I locked my eyes on you and even thought about helping you, but I would have cost you the match to your face if I had been involved in it. I've done it before. And so, again, all these baby faces are fucking pricks or dicks or incompetent or backstabbers. And then as they get face to face, here comes Ospreay. And I'm Jesus, because this was long already. And Ospreay came out, his hair looked like a goose shit on it. And he gets in between and tells Swerve that he's wrong about Paige because Paige shook my hand. So did the fucking con man that sold you the door-to-door burglar alarm system, right? What the fuck? Again, they have no angle with Moxley because nobody has understood what the guy has said or done for months. So the baby faces are now having to argue amongst themselves about how bad they want the shot and tear each other down in the eyes of the fans in the process. And then Ospreay says, we've got one shot at this. Since when? People are getting shots at Moxley all the fucking time. We've got one shot at this, and Paige is the guy. We can either make this easier on him if we all work together, or a fucking Swerve slaps the microphone out of his hand and gets a pop. Because now he's shutting up this other fucking nattering white boy. And Swerve said, I'm not ever going to trust Paige. And that's just it. And he walked out and people were booing. And then Ospreay and Paige argued and Paige left and people were booing him. So in 20 minutes, besides the fact that this would not end, at one point, Swerve was the most over guy, most popular, so they buried him. And then Ospreay was the most popular guy, and now they buried him and beat him. And Paige was never the most popular guy, and they're putting the belt on him. 2 out of 3 of their top baby faces got booed, and the only reason they've come up with to have the match for the world title is to get the belt away from the guy that's got it now because the fans want anybody to beat him because he's the shits. There's their world title picture. Help me, Brian.
You know, looking back, you probably could figure out they were going in this direction when they had Adam Page defeat MJF. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting thing to do right now. They're getting him ready maybe for Moxley. Now, if Moxley comes out of that with the belt, that'd be the worst thing. So you have to figure they're going to do a big title change. And they're coming together like they're getting ready to attack the Death Star. They got to work together. There's our one shot. Why? Why is this your one? Is your one shot in Texas, maybe? But they're getting behind Adam Page. They're getting behind all the usual suspects from the very beginning, minus Cody. They're getting behind all those people again. And Adam Page, you know, he's it looks like Tony Khan really believes in him right now.
I think that Page may be the only person that would be worse than Moxley as the champion right now. Because then it just delays Ospreay. And I don't know if the thing ever gets swerved back or not where he was, where he ought to have it. But Page is just so bleh. We've seen it. It ain't going to change. Ain't going to get any better.
AEW is different than WWE. You know, the WWE Championship doesn't make me think of creativity and human dignity. Like the AEW Championship does. So it's a different thing altogether.
Compassion. That's what it's all about, Brian.
Human dignity. What the
human dignity. Human chess, I've heard, but not human dignity.
How would you describe that other wrestling league that you watch, AEW? Well, I would say, they go for creativity and human dignity and compassion.
It's an entire den of human dignity.
It's a very compassionate wrestling company.
I need to start a den of indignity. I'll be over there on the other side completely. So it was time for Dick the Boozer and the Boar Horseman to pull up in their pickup truck. And when they walked in the back of the arena from the parking lot, did you see Boozer almost got lost and walked into the wall?
Yep.
Stopped short and turned right and went the complete opposite way to get in the building. And it was a 6-person mixed tag team match with Boozer and Schaefer and Gabe Kidd, with Claudio and Useless in the corner, against Mark Briscoe, Willow Nightingale, and Hong Kong Phooey. Now, I have a couple of questions. Dad, in the mixed tag team environment, the men wrestle the men, the women wrestle the women, right? So first off, Spitball was confused. There were no children. They had one team where they had 2 men and a woman, but his team had the man, the woman, and he was the child. They had no opposing child, so he didn't know which side to attack.
Did you see when he threw the kicks at Moxley? And then Moxley
Moxley
sold it by just not selling it and rolling out of the ring.
And normally I would be upset, but I wouldn't sell that fucking grasshopper bullshit either. It looks like an actual legitimate grasshopper trying to kick somebody. Have you seen Gabe Kidd before? Is this the first time?
I never watched a full match. I've seen clips of his stuff in New Japan. I'm not a big fan of modern New Japan. I haven't been in a while, so I haven't really watched it. I haven't watched him. I never saw a full match before.
So I was just going to ask, is this as good as it gets? Because what the
Well, they set him up for a good feud with Willow, I think.
Well, and he might be able to handle her, but I think she may be a little fucking too much for him, because we just mentioned as they brought in Josh Alexander, a fucking bald guy with a beard, and now they bring in this other guy, a bald guy with a beard. But now that I've seen Gabe Kidd without a shirt on, he don't look anything like Josh Alexander. This pale, paunchy, flabby fucking, what the fuck? He looks like he just got off work at the fucking Valvoline and ran over there. He's wearing sweatpants with it. Was it a karate belt or just some kind of belt that was hanging out the front of his fucking pants about 1.5 feet? And he started out the match with a phony punch and forearm exchange with Briscoe, and then they all jumped in a 6-way and a blah, blah, blah. And this thing went through 2 breaks, but Gabe Kidd, seriously? Who looked at that fucking 8x10 glossy and said, boy, we need him on television? And then finally, the finish was a mess. Claudio got up and distracted Mark Briscoe right in front of Aubrey Ed. He actually stepped in the ring, and Mark goes that way and he steps out. But they both had to stand there forever. Claudio on the floor and Mark Briscoe in the ring, just staring at each other while time stood still, because Commander was supposed to come out from the other side, jump up on the top rope, walk the top rope from one side of the ring to the other, and then jump off on Claudio, who had to stand there and catch him, because they're fighting on Collision Saturday. And then they fought off, and then Moxley got the choke on Briscoe, and the others' heels grabbed the other faces, and Aubrey Ed ignored that the other illegal people were in the ring fighting and whatever, and just called for the bell that, again, a team with a girl and Hong Kong Phooey on it, and they beat Mark Briscoe. And just stationary fucking finish where they just held the baby faces down and just beat them. What'd you think?
I hate the Death Riders. I hate Moxley's matches. I wasn't really impressed with Gabe Kidd. I don't know about him spitting at Willow. They're really pushing the man versus woman thing as far as they can go right now. It's going to go further, I think.
Oh, well, they beat him up on pay-per-view. You can do that over there.
I'm not a Claudio fan. I wish he wasn't on this show, but I guess if there was any kind of consolation, if there was a consolation, there'd be a lot of other things. If there was anything to look forward to, it's him versus Commander in a feud. Or I guess just a match. Why did Commander interfere? Commander has a match with him. There's no feud, is there?
No, they're just there. They have a match on Saturday. So in Tony's mind...
So he's got to chase him away? Well,
anyhow.
Yeah, no to any of this.
No. Would you like to talk about the no disqualification girls tag team contest, Brian?
Man, and this was a big rematch. I told you to watch that match at the pre-show. Harley Cameron and Anna Jay obviously have been put together as a new, fresh tag team. Fans are really getting behind them against Dastardly Penelope Ford and Big Mean Megan Bain. This is a big thing. They had the match the other day. Apparently, the feud wouldn't die.
Apparently, they didn't know when to quit. They couldn't count their lucky stars.
So they brought it back with this.
No disqualification. Say it with me together, folks. Lazy booking. This was the first ever fashion street fight. Penelope Pitstop and Megan Brain came out with matching tights on and a matching painted garbage can and lid and a gold painted chair because it's a no DQ match. And then here come Anna Jay and Harley Cameron with matching tights and the same color scheme they had decorated a 2x4 in a fake lead pipe. And these four girls get in there with these goofy gimmicks and these stupid looking outfits. And they proceed to have the imitation of every indie garbage match that they've ever seen. They don't know how to work with gimmicks, so it all looks fake. Megan Brain apparently doesn't know how to work at all. At one point, they did a spot where the baby faces, one had the chair and the other one had the plastic lead pipe. And they did a spot where one would hit Megan Bain in the back with a chair and she wouldn't sell it because she's a giant. She'd just turn and like, how dare you? And the other one would hit with the pipe and she wouldn't sell it and she'd turn like, how dare you? But all she was doing was they'd whack and she'd just slowly turn around like, why'd you do that to me? And then whack from there. And then she would turn and get into position and stand there so that they could. It was the fakest thing ever. She took the shot. She didn't sell them. She didn't go down. She didn't rest. She just grimaced and got into position. And they went through a break with this. And at one point, again, Penelope, she just don't have it. As Ernie Ladd said about Junkyard Dog to Bill Watts one time, yeah, boy, I just don't have it, Bill. Because she's got that face where she looks like she's concentrating. It's like, which routine is this? Oh, we have to go over here and chop now. And she got in there with Anna Jay, and it looked like two strippers at the Gold Club fighting over the last night's tips. And they did a spot where Megan ran Harley Cameron's face into the stairs, and as Bobby Eaton used to say, they burnt the bread on themselves, Brian. I think that's what cursed them for the rest of the night because they did a gimmick injury, and then everybody else got hurt for real.
At one point in the middle of the match, I was like, man, Anna Jay. Because I remember she had a street fight years ago. I think maybe with Penelope, and it was Anna Jay and Ty Mello, whatever her name is.
Ty Mellow Jello.
And I remember thinking, man, watching this match, I'm thinking, man, Anna Jay, I guess she kind of knows how to do this without getting hurt. And then boom.
Well, no, but now the Harley Cameron, it was gimmick. You know that, right?
Harley Cameron, they gimmicked it here to hide the fact that she really got hurt at the pay-per-view, I guess. And she's going to have
yes,
off.
But I don't know if she... See, that's the thing. If she got hurt at the pay-per-view, how did she have this 10-minute fucking street fight? And now she needs to take time off. So they hurt her in a gimmick to explain... help me make it make sense. But they did a halfway decent job with this, but here's where they... Unfortunately, for my discerning eye, where I knew bullshit. She picks Harley up and she gives her the face buster into the stairs, boom. And immediately the floor camera goes to the pan in tight of the heel celebrating, which usually means they're trying to stay off of somebody getting color. But the referee ran over there and signaled to the doctor, and the doctor was on his feet and headed that way in the twinkling of an eye and already had a towel in his hand. And there should have been some more flummox. We need a towel. Oh, God, she's bleeding, whatever. But anyway, they did a pretty good job. But then the problem was that everybody else for the rest of the night got fucking hurt for real. So while Harley got her face bashed in, the heels take a while to set up the Road Warriors doomsday device, Brian. Megan is going to be, I guess, Animal, and old Penelope is going to be Hawk. Well, first of all, Penelope looked like she was either blown up or she was dazed because she couldn't hardly get up on the rope. And Megan leaves Anna Jay to go over and kind of boost Penelope up on the corner. So then Megan picks up Anna Jay and is on the shoulders, and Penelope's up on the top rope, and she's right there in front of the girl, and she yells something at her like, ah! And she jumps off with the clothesline and went straight the fuck over her head. Not even close. Megan and Anna took the bump anyway. Anna came down, Megan put her down right on her ass on the mat. The fans laughed, but Penelope had to be 2 feet over the top of her, and she went right by her. She had to almost miss on purpose. How did she miss? Now, to be fair, old Anna was not sitting up straight like she should have been. She had her head ducked down, probably because she didn't want to get her fucking neck broken when she took that bump.
Oh, I don't think Anna Jay was the problem here.
But no. I mean, still, you could have. I mean, she was close enough to her. She could have whispered in her ear, and she still missed her with the arm by a fucking yardstick. 1, 2, 3. So there was the win there. So that was the match you wanted me to see rematched.
Well, again, the first match wasn't all gimmicked up. You really got to pay attention to the work of them. And I agree. Penelope Ford.
Yeah, the work of them.
Penelope Ford's
How much work have they had done on their buttocks?
Penelope Ford's been there since the beginning, and she has not gotten any better. And, it really, anytime she works, it pops out at you. Harley Cameron's been trying, so now she's hurt. Megan Bain is a star, but we'll see what happens with her.
Well, no, she looks like a star, but I'm afraid as long as she's been around, what we're seeing now, there may be the reason that we've been looking for as to why she's not up north in the big program. We'll keep an eye out for it.
We'll keep an eye out.
Hoo boy. And speaking of hoo boy, the debut of a new combination, Brian, was next. Another a 6-person tag team match, almost all men in this one. For the 6-man tag team titled The Ops of Samoa Joe, Shapoopy, and Powerhouse Hobbs against the Frat House, Preston Vance, Cole Carter, and Griff Garrison. Griff Garrison's got to be 30 fucking 5 years old by now. He's been doing college fraternity shit for the fucking past 10 years, Eddie.
You don't even think about that. The fact that he was in the, not the convertible blonde, the varsity blondes.
The varsity blondes. How long does it take him to get out of fucking college?
And they won't give up on Preston Vance. It's almost like he knows the right people.
Boy, howdy. I'll tell you. And again, have you seen that face? He's like a fucking model home in a subdivision. The lights are on, but nobody lives there. And it's just, this was so ridiculous. They get a bunch of indie clowns together and to send out to the ring with them. And they've got that goofy manager.
Yeah, who was that guy? Promos. Who was that guy? I've never seen that guy or heard of him before.
No, he was that goofy manager that was with the fucking Bear guys. And one of them got fired for doing something, wasn't he?
I think he beat up his wife or was accused of beating up his wife or something. Was arrested for beating up his wife.
The bald, jacked up manager was with them, but there's like 9 of them out there. And they actually did a video of them partying in El Paso the night before and doing stupid college kid shit. And then the job guys had the manager did a promo about throwing parties and looking for their next member of their group. And it was like, I wrote, how low budget can a big budget show look? They're spending a fortune on this and it looks like cable access. And so anyway, finally, the manager got in the ring and hit Hobbs with a board. What is that? Was that a cricket bat or a boat paddle? What the fuck did they have? I don't know. It was a board.
Probably a pledge thing. Like what do they call them? The boards that they hit the pledges with?
The spanking of a paddle. Yeah. A paddle. I stepped in a poodle. That's how I knew it was raining cats and dogs. So then Hobbs shit cans the manager right in front of the referee because the manager comes in while the referee's back is turned and hit Hobbs with the board, but Hobbs didn't sell it. But then the referee turned around and sees Hobbs throwing the manager out of the ring. Then in front of the referee, as he stood and stared, 3 of the Stooges ran in to take spine busters. That's the guys that they're interfering in the fucking match. The referee's standing there looking at it. Then Preston Vance comes back in with the board, but the referee takes that away. And then Hobbs spinebustered Vance. And then apparently it was Cole Carter. I know because by process of elimination, he's the only one left. Carter tried to climb to the top rope behind Hobbs. So the spot was going to be that Hobbs he spinebustered all 3 of these guys. Then he spinebusters Vance. Then he's going to catch the guy coming off the top and he's going to spinebuster his ass too. Well, as Hobbs turns around to catch him, Carter fell off the top rope. So he fucking catches himself on the apron and he climbs back up, scampers back up as quick as he can. Hobbs standing there. He jumps off and Hobbs is going to catch him and spinebuster him. But now the guy's rattled. So when he landed, right as Hobbs was going to grab him, the guy fucking jumped already, and he jumped right out of Hobbs's arms. So fucking Hobbs lost him, and he tried to grab him again. As he came back down, he grabbed him again, and as he grabbed him again, right as he's going to take him, Carter jumped again. And almost jumped away from him again. And Hobbs said, fuck it, and just held him about halfway up and turned around and just planted him from halfway up the end.
Big debut for the Frat House. I don't know where this gimmick has been, I would say AEW Dark, but that went off the air, so to speak, a while back.
Yeah, it should have been Dark before it was.
The Frat House. All right. Well, this seems like one of those things to try on an NXT house show to see how it works out. And we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll turn it into a thing where people will really get into partying with the Frat House the day before the wrestling, the night before the wrestling.
I think that might be fun. Then they don't have to go to the wrestling the next day. Be more fun that way. Well, before we get to the episode that or the segment of the show that was sponsored by Marie Antoinette, off with their heads. Tell me, Brian, whether I don't know whether this next segment was what they were intending to do or what happened or what, but Renee Moxley Good was in the ring and introduced Jamie Hayter, and she came out looking all colorful. And Renee said, well, what's next for you? And the lights went out. But nothing happened for like 10 seconds. And the announcers are like, oh, I don't know what's going on. And then music started playing, and there was a logo on the screen. But just as soon as you saw that, the lights came back on, and they cut to the ring, and Jamie Hayter was laying there at the feet of this blonde girl in a black jacket who was standing over her. We didn't hear any bloomp. We didn't hear it. We heard the announcers, we heard the crowd, but we didn't hear any whap or attack or, oh my God, or anything. Just all of a sudden, boom, there they are. Renee was gone. And the blonde picks Jamie Hayter up and punches her again and whipped her jacket off and spun around and did the Bray Wyatt back bend and looked at the camera, and the announcers were, oh, it's Tekla. It's Tekla. Tekla's here. Who the fuck is Tekla? Where did Tekla come from? Has anybody mentioned Tekla?
I've never seen or heard of Tekla before, no.
Well, she's here. She has arrived.
She has arrived and she is here.
By the way, I swear to God, that Officer Yancey I saw on the news the other day, I think he's running for sheriff down here. So did they miss a shot? Was that what they were trying to do? The music didn't work? What the fuck happened here?
I'm not sure, because they screw up a lot of things and then you find out, oh no, they wanted to screw that up, or they wanted to do it. They didn't know it was a screw up, whatever it is.
They wanted to do it that way.
I don't know. Where did Renee go? I don't know about any of this. I don't know who Tekla is. She's from Austria, they said. Tekla. And she liked posing for the camera. They're really doubling down on the women's division right now in terms of the amount of time the women are getting on Dynamite and the focus on them. Maybe it's helping AEW in the state they're in. I don't know. But for me, it's a lot.
But again, how
did this woman control the lights?
How did it? Well, not only that, but how the fuck did Jamie Hayter? I mean, there had to be somebody sitting in the building that could see, outline shadows. They can't turn all the goddamn lights off with thousands of people. There'd be a free for all. How the fuck did they cover? Did Jamie just lay down in the middle of the ring, or did the camera and the lights coming on miss this girl leveling her? Well, if she leveled her, why didn't we hear it? And where the fuck would Renee have gone in 10 seconds to just disappear? I don't know. We'll find out more about Tekla. You think is she the technology guru of the future? There's old Tekla. She's got the technology.
How do you spell that?
I don't know.
What did you write?
Tekla. That's what I heard. I don't think we'll probably need to write that name much.
It could have been TECH-LA, and she could have been like into like the rave scene.
Could have been FUCKYOU, and we could just move on.
Maybe it wasn't FUCKYOU to you, this segment.
Well, it was to somebody. Maybe it was to Tekla. All right, here we go. The TNT title was on the line. I forgot Adam Cole has a belt, too. He's the TNT champion. And he had a single match with old Kyle Felcher. And these two look like a before and after ad for the Charles Atlas bodybuilding course. And Adam Cole is definitely the one that's getting the sand kicked in his face. I know I've just gone over the heads of the millennials or whatever, but Again, I feel sorry for Adam with whatever physically he's experiencing. This was pretty rough. They're doing the moves, but within 2 minutes, here comes Trent and Rocky to ringside. And they're going to do something, but Roddy and Kyle O'Reilly come out, and all four of them fight off. So while they're fighting off, Kyle and Adam Cole are on the floor. Kyle hits him with a super kick and then picks him up for the deal where they do the power bomb on the apron, where they pick the guy up and they power bomb him on the apron. And the theory behind this stupid move is that the guy spreads his arms out, tucks his chin, takes the edge of the apron across his shoulder blades, kind of upper back, where it will make a sound and look like an impact, but it's not the lower back where he'll just break all of his goddamn vertebrae. And then you just hope that the bottom rope isn't in such a place that it hits you in the back of the head, even though you got your chin tucked, and fucking fucks your neck up. So you can see this is a move that everybody ought to do in every match. But in this case, Kyle picks him up and turns, and instead of taking a step toward the ring and putting him down on the ring, he fucking threw him. He was standing there. He was like 4 or 5 feet from the ring, and he threw him like he was going to buckle bomb him. And instead of landing with the edge of the ring across the shoulder blades, Cole was flying downwards, and he had part of his right arm hit the apron, but his left arm, the shoulder, he came like an inch short of the ring. And you had to play it in slow motion to be able to see that his head did not hit the edge of the ring, but it was like a half an inch off. And he went to the floor and landed on the floor hard. And if he had literally gone an inch farther, it would have broken his fucking neck. With the speed that he was going and the trajectory that he had, it would have literally, if the ring had hit the back of his head, it could not have failed to have snapped his neck right there. I'm not talking about just a broken vertebrae or whatever. I'm talking about disconnect the goddamn spinal column type of bump. And there was a huge gasp from everybody. And that was their break spot. And it was almost a decapitation. But here's the thing, and I've been waiting to say this. There were people, Brian, on Twitter, the apologists that think, oh, these old men, they don't know what they're talking about. They thought it was great. They thought, did you see how safely they did that? His head didn't hit. Like that was what they were trying to do to begin with. And that it wasn't a massive fuck up. And that only by the grace of luck and God, if you believe in that, did Adam Cole not get a broken fucking neck, because an inch further would have been curtains. But these people actually thought, well, they did it right. His head didn't hit. His right arm made the noise on the ring. Did you see any of those?
I saw some of that feedback. I saw a lot more feedback, people concerned before people obviously looked in slow motion to see that. I still haven't done that. I only watched it in real time and then heard after the fact that he wasn't dead.
Yes. I mean, many people were concerned and saying, oh my God, and that could have been fatal and all this other stuff. But there were people actually saying, no, they did it perfectly. They don't even know what the fuck ups are. The people in the ring don't know when they're fucking up. So of course they don't know how to avoid it. But anyway, they came back from the break and went a few more minutes, and then Adam Cole had him. And here again, this is Kyle Felcher that say what you want about the outfit and that there's been no focused booking or push of him. What is his personality? But he has worked on his physique. He's grown up as best he can. He's a hell of an athlete. He's got the size. He can do some shit. He's never going to learn anything where he is. He was reckless and he should have been reprimanded, because I can't believe the unprofessionalism of letting a guy go in that position. But they've got now Adam Cole's ready to beat him and ready to give him the knee, and Josh Alexander runs in and tackles Cole and gets disqualified. So, no, I'm not in favor of killing Adam Cole like they tried to do. But how the fuck are they going to get Felcher over if he can't beat a guy half his size that, let's face it, poor Adam, it just ain't happening. And they booked that whole group into insensibility. So now Adam Cole almost won, but Josh Alexander run in and the DQ and they get heat. And then they were trying to play the music for the save, but the CD got stuck. I didn't know they were still using CDs, but what is the last thing that you ever heard that sounded like, nah, 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 nah? That's a CD getting stuck, right?
It could be a digital file. Something
something got stuck. So the music got stuck. So then they had to get more heat on poor old fucking Adam Cole. Then the music plays and Brody King comes out with a chair and the heels bail out. Again, just one more time for the learning impaired. No, they didn't do that power bomb spot right. That's not what it was supposed to be. It was reckless and dangerous. It was a miracle, freak luck, that Adam Cole didn't at least get a concussion and not a broken neck. And you can apologize for your favorite wrestlers or your favorite wrestling company all you want, but no, that was ridiculous. It shouldn't have been done. Anything I missed before we go to part 2 of this saga? Because now we got Alexander and Brody King at ringside.
I guess I'll just say I don't like watching Adam Cole matches, especially against Kyle. Kyle's big. For AEW, he's a big guy. And he's put on muscle and size. Never wins. But he's a big guy with a heel manager. And Adam Cole's half his size, doesn't have a tan on his back. Just nothing. It feels like you're watching.
That's because he always does jobs. His chest is tan.
It feels like you're watching an unhealthy guy. And I always, we've been saying that for years. Like, I hope he's all right. The fact that we're still saying it and we still are like, there's a chance he may be sick. That's a problem. The
only reason that I say that kind of jokingly and go on with the criticism is because one would think that if he's having these wrestling matches that physically he doesn't have a terminal illness. But so then Brody and Josh Alexander was the next match, and we came right back with the bell, and they started out with a hockey fight. And then they did some bits with Brody King's t-shirt, or was it Alexander's? That is Brody's. And then they went to the floor and Brody King, Alexander was right in front of him. And Brody King just threw a forearm and just potatoed him right in the fucking nose. And I'm like, how? How? You had to do that on purpose. He wasn't moving and he fed you his face. Just punch him in the chin. He threw a forearm and bam. And Taz was joking like, well, that came all the way from Idaho. So then they spent minutes on the floor. Minutes on the floor. And I started fast forwarding because they weren't ever going to get in the fucking ring. During the picture in the break, they actually got in the ring. But by the time they came back full, they were trying to balance on the turnbuckles to do I'm going to suplex you off the wrong way to the floor. Oh, no, you're not. And Alexander almost fell off up there. But then they went down to the apron and started teasing moves on the apron forever. They still wouldn't get in the ring. And then finally, Josh Alexander hit a German suplex to Brody King on the apron of the ring. And then they both took a bump back to the floor. So I fast forwarded while they were still on the floor. Then they got back in the ring. They get back in the ring, and Josh Alexander waistlocks Brody King with King's arms trapped too and gave him a German suplex. And I swear to God, 53 years of watching wrestling, there's still new shit that I can see. I have never seen a son of a bitch be so unlucky that he can give another guy a German suplex and bust his own face open. That is exactly what happened. He German suplexed Brody King. I guess the back of Brody King's head hit Josh Alexander's head. I don't know what would be sharp because it looked like somebody cut him with a razor. But what would be sharp on Brody King's fucking face? I don't think that his wit is not sharp.
Does he have any piercings, maybe?
Good. I'll tell you what, next time I got a ring with him, I'd start pulling him out. Because he fucking German suplexed the guy. He comes up, he's fucking bleeding from his head. Like, God damn, somebody just fucking hit him with an axe. So now Alexander is kind of stunned, and Brody King he's laying there in the middle of the ring, but he knows what spot is next as soon as his opponent finishes bleeding to death. So Brody King rolled into position. He rolled over twice, very slowly and deliberately, to get in position. So Alexander went to the top, did the moonsault. Brody King raised his knees. And boom, and he hit him. And then some kind of gut wrench over the shoulder into a fucking sideways pile driver. Goddamn, with Brody King hit Alexander with the track record of this show so far, I would have never gone for. 1, 2, 3. So they beat Alexander again. They ought to send Gabe Kidd out and let Gabe Kidd do Josh Alexander's jobs. Nobody'd know the difference.
Who's the last new person we saw on the show who didn't lose, even if it's the frat house? Kevin Knight.
Well, I mean, they deserved it. The frat house deserved to lose. But when you bring a guy in that looks like halfway of something, he never wins either. How many stitches you think he took from that German suplex? If you'd have called that finish in the old days, 20 years ago, I'll German suplex you, get some juice on myself. And the guy go, what? What? You were what? Anyway, we know. Go ahead.
No, that was that match, and of course, I think that was that another one of the qualifiers for the Big Kenny match, the 4-way with Kenny.
I don't even know. I don't know.
Okay.
We know Adam Cole is okay because in the back, Kyle was doing an interview, said 10 words, and Adam Cole jumped in, and they had a big fake fight, and security ran in. So Adam's all right, thank goodness. And then it was time for the last segment of Brian, this may break your heart. But Mercedes Moon came to the ring with 18 belts and her camel face on. And Tony Storm came to the ring in black and white. And I knew we were about ready to see 10 minutes of emoting between the two of them. And I just can't. I was done. I don't know. I don't care. Have I squandered my goddamn responsibility to the audience?
I think you owe it to the listeners who rely on your review based on all your years and your expertise. I think you owe it to them to give this a well thought out review. This is obviously building to what they called the biggest women's match in wrestling history. I think, if you want, we could travel through time and you could go watch it and we can come back. How do you feel about it?
Well, I'll tell you how I feel about it. I just can't. Did I miss an epic promo with a blistering angle that would do sellout business for this cataclysmic confrontation? Or did I miss the two of them in their own individual ways doing some bad fucking acting auditions?
Well, I don't know if I think that's fair. I don't think Tony Storm's really a bad actress on an audition. I think she's got her role down and she's really good in it. It just doesn't belong
Okay, then
here.
she's doing a good acting audition,
Yes.
and the other one's doing a bad acting audition.
The other one's come up with her own character, and she really loves it. The rest of the world just needs to catch up, I guess. Read Monet.
Did either one of them get lost in the woods?
No, they stuck to their characters.
Did anyone's team come in?
No.
Well, and we didn't miss anything.
Well, I watched it.
I want to see the reality show Lost in the Woods with Mercedes Moon.
We'll see if Destination America is still in the wrestling business.
Hey, if they found Bigfoot, they can find Josephine Camel.
All right. Well, listen, let's go now.
Yes. Where are we going? I was gonna send you somewhere. Where would you like to go?
Wherever you want to go.
I want to know what the hell's going on at the Arcadian Vanguard Network this week before we find out whether anybody watched this television show or not.
Oh, another very big week. Some cool stuff I got to tell you about this week on the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network. Get information about all the shows on Twitter at Superpodcast or on Facebook. Facebook.com/Arcadian Vanguard. Of course, the wrestling news.
Both of us are having trouble with our pipes this week.
Of course, the wrestling news each and every day. Find out what's happening in the pipeline of professional wrestling news. Only the news, no opinion, no gossip, no star ratings, no paywall. TheWrestlingNews.com, wherever you find your favorite podcast. Want to make mention, Shut Up and Wrestle with Brian Solomon, a brand new series. He's starting on his show, a look back at the NWA champions, going back to the beginning. So this week, a look at Orville Brown. Hear that? At SUAWpod.com, or look for Shut Up and Wrestle with Brian Solomon wherever you find your favorite podcast.
Brian, let me ask you this. Do you think that Orville Brown would have made it big time if the accident hadn't happened? Because has there ever been a big wrestling star named Orville?
It would have been interesting. I mean, we were still years away from learning of Orville Redenbacher. That kind of normalized Orville relations with the American population.
Normalized Orville relations.
But Orville Brown, find out about the first NWA, National Wrestling Alliance. Of course, there was a National Wrestling Association, also a different National Wrestling Alliance, also the Midwest. There are lots of world champions everywhere.
Lots of them.
They all came together and said, Orville, you're our guy. And he drove right off the road.
Orville, he's our man. If he can't do it, we'll get another man.
Call Fez again. Call Fez. But hear about Orville Brown, learn about him in a respectful manner.
Put up the Fez signal. Commissioner Gordon.
Once again, SUAWpod.com. Stick to Wrestling with John McAdam. They are looking at wrestling 40 years ago, whether it's in world class or the WWE. Hear about it. McAdampod.com. Or look for Stick to Wrestling with John McAdam wherever you find your favorite podcast. And of course, the 605 Super Podcast, The Mothership! All right, that died just like my voice did. Go through the archive, 605pod.com. The Mothership.
Well, Mother, did anyone watch the episode of AEW from May 28th that we have titled The Blooper Reel, where they did their best to injure each other in very different, exciting, creative, and compassionate ways?
Well, I'm pulling up the ratings right now, and just for the record, for anyone looking for the AEW roster review from the letter K on, that will be continuing on the Drive-Thru this coming week.
Yes, I have the notes standing by here, who we've discarded and who we have kept so far, and we're going to continue with that process. I think we left off with Jeremiah Jackoff, and now we're starting with the K's.
I don't remember that, but let's go now to the ratings. AEW Dynamite, May 28th, 2025 on TBS. From 8 to fucking you broke.
What are you laughing at?
You and your silliness. God damn it. You fucking made me laugh after the fact.
Silly?
8 to 10:05 p.m. Jeremiah Jackoff, 8 to 10:05 p.m.
I think that's the muscly manager's name, isn't it? Jeremiah Jackoff?
Jim, on average,
yes,
watched by 636,000 viewers.
Is this last week they fell in a hole and they come back to it's the same thing they do every fucking week. 626, 636, 606.
It's 1%
I'm
up.
sick of 6.
1% up on the 4-week trend of 629. So like you said, right in that range. Last week was 575, an 11% hit. according to WrestleNomics. Let's go now to the quarterly hour breakdowns. These, once again, compiled by WrestleNomics. Quarter 1, 8 to 8:15 p.m. The Adam Page, Swerve Strickland, Will Ospreay live promo. 689,000 viewers.
Ooh, much lower to start than traditionally, which on the good note means they don't have as far to fall unless they hold up for the first hour and jump off a cliff in the second hour. But we will see what transpires.
We will now move to quarter 2, 8:15, 8:30 p.m. The continuation of the Page Strickland Ospreay live promo. The start of Mark Briscoe, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Willow Nightingale versus the Death Riders with picture-in-picture. 634,000 viewers.
Okay, and again, that's only 55,000. Normally it's 100 and something thousand. So the good part, again, we're finding that silver lining. When they don't start high, they don't have as far to fall.
We go now to quarter 3, 8:30 to 8:45 p.m. The continuation of Briscoe Bailey and Nightingale versus the Death Riders with picture-in-picture ads. The Hurt Syndicate MJF promo, and Penelope Ford's backstage promo, followed by an ad break. 606,000 viewers.
And they pretty much need to stay within spitting distance of that to hit their average at this point.
And so far, they are kind of within the trend line, so nothing abnormal. Quarter 4, 8:45 to 9 p.m. The Ricochet promo. Megan Bain.
Oh, I forgot. I glossed over that because he said nothing in a boring way, but the summation is he needs to have a group. Minions that will do his bidding to help out against all these other groups. So now old Ricochet is going to have a group too. That's all. That's exactly what we need, is some more groups.
Well, we go now to quarter 4, 8:45 to 9 p.m. The Ricochet promo, followed by Megan Bain and Penelope Ford versus Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. No DQ.
And the Invisible Woman.
Picture-in-picture ads. 599,000 viewers.
That's a gift right there. They only lost 7,000 for that thing. And they're at the top of the hour. They should go up according to these numbers, I would think.
And that's also the low point in the key demo, 188,000 for those 4 women out there. We continue now to the big 9 o'clock hour, 9 to 9:15 p.m. The continuation of Bain and Ford versus Jay and Cameron. The Mercedes Moné angle. What was the Mercedes Moné angle? I don't know. And the Ops versus the Frat House, followed by an ad break. 637,000 viewers.
There you go. So they picked up 38,000 at the top of the hour. They're back to the second best quarter that they've done all night. This is not losing mass percentages of the audience like they normally do, but they started with more of their faithful.
We go now to quarter 6, 9:15 and 9:30 p.m. The Jamie Hayter Tekla live angle, spelled Thekla.
Yeah.
The Mystico video, and the start of Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher with picture-in-picture. 648,000 viewers.
Amazing. They picked up 11,000 in quarter 6, which is usually where they're starting to fall off that cliff. So this is going to be pretty consistent.
I wonder what time was halftime during the basketball game. But anyway, back to the schedule here, the quarterly hour breakdown. Quarter 7, 9:30 to 9:45 p.m. The continuation of Cole versus Fletcher, with the Don Callis family and Brody King in the post-match, an ad break, and the start of Josh Alexander versus Brody King, with picture-in-picture. 618,000 viewers.
Well, that's a gift. That's only 30,000 down for that. And I have a feeling that people are going to give up quickly in the next segment.
Well, the final segment, and I remind you we have a 5-minute overrun, quarter 8, 9:45 to 10 p.m. Continuation of Alexander versus King. And the Mercedes Moné Tony Storm live promo, 636,000 viewers.
Oh!
5-minute overrun, 705,000 viewers.
Okay, now I call bullshit there, but 636 for those two. They ought to be turning cartwheels. They actually gained another 18,000, but 69,000 for the 5-minute overrun. Modern Family has not been that popular here lately. And I'm sorry, but I don't believe that they would have tuned in just for 5 minutes of these two to continue to talk to each other. But if you do what we used to do and take off the first quarter that always starts the highest and take off the overrun because that's artificial, then you have pretty much got 600 to 630,000 people. That's their base audience.
Yeah, they've been steady with this. Even the key demo, it doesn't really fluctuate too much from week to week. It's steady. This is their cable base right now. Who knows what Max really is or isn't. Some people say
I think he's a member of the Hurt Syndicate now.
Well, some people say it's one of the biggest sports shows on Max, and other people say, well, Max points out the other ones that are bigger. So who knows? But those are the ratings, and they're kind of, they're in a place right now. We'll see what happens after the NBA playoffs, if that really changes anything. But right now, this seems like the base, like you said.
That's who they are, and that's where they are, and that's what they've done. And that's why we said that. Because we tell you all about it here on our various programming.